Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. It's the German immersion webinar. First of all, the acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the tradition of custodianship and law of the country on which the University of Sydney campuses stand. We pay our respects to those who have cared and continue to care for country. Hi everyone, I'm Tristan and I'm gonna guide you today through this session together with our great student, Indigo. And first of all, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our department. It's possible to learn German in 3 different streams. We got the introductory, the intermediate, and the advanced pathway. So if you haven't learned German before, you can start as a complete beginner, or if you have very little learning experience, it's also good to expand your knowledge in German. And you can start in the introductory stream. If you have completed HSC beginners, you can continue with your study in German in our intermediate pathway. And if you have completed HSC continuous or extension, you can join us in our advanced pathway. So it means if you have learned German previously at school, you're not gonna start from the beginning. You can continue with the knowledge you have achieved, and normally students who are joining us in the intermediate stream, they will complete with C1 knowledge, which is very advanced. And with C1 knowledge, you even can apply for German universities. Our department offers the major in Germanic Studies. We also got it as part of the minor or as an elective. If you want to take it as a major, you have to complete 8 units within 3 years. If you want to take it as a minor, it's 6 units. And if you want to take it as an elective, it's up to you how many units you want to choose. Within the major and the minor, we've got a combination of language studies and culture units. The majority of units you're gonna enroll in are language units. The more advanced you are, the less language units you will take, but more culture units are necessary if you are in the intermediate or in the advanced stream. Our culture units are focused on German and Austrian literature. We also offer culture units in applied linguistics, but also in intellectual history. Within the major and the minor, it is compulsory to take 1 unit as an interdisciplinary project, and you even have the opportunity to take in-country study units. It means you can learn German and Korean, French, or any other language the University of Sydney is offering. And the in-country study units are like that. There's a kind of online preparation where you have to complete a certain amount of modules. And after that, you go to the host university, which is, let's say, in Italy for 2 weeks, and you're gonna take language courses, but also culture units in Italy. Okay. The agenda for today is we do a little bit of vocabulary work, and I have prepared 2 exercises for you. The first one will be a list of German and English words, and I'm gonna read them aloud, and you will see that English and German actually share common roots. The reason why I have chosen this exercise is because you guys have indicated that most of you are on beginner's level. The second part would be a matching test, and you try to apply the knowledge you have just learned. Okay, I have to share. Okay, I hope you can all see this exercise. I'm gonna go through the right column with the German words, and it would be great if you could also read them aloud, so you get a kind of feeling for the German pronunciation. Okay? Okay, we start. Abstrakt, Akzent, aktiv, Banane, Biologie, Bus, Karte, Elefant, Familie, Freund, Glas, Guten Morgen, Haar, Hallo, Identität, Identität, Juni, and the last one, Lampe. Okay, this is the matching test, and what we got here is on the left side we got all the English words. On the right side we got the German words, and you have to match them. Okay. The answers. Could you please use the Q&A function within Zoom for this exercise? I'm going to read aloud, let's say, police, and then you're providing me with the correct letter. Okay, in this case, it would be G, Polizei. Okay? Okay. Nummer 1, number 1, Police ist no answer yet. It's Polizei. Okay. Nummer 2, number 2, Summer. No. Sommer. J. Nummer 3, Friend. I, Freund. Nummer 4, Blue. There's a hint. Can you see it? Blau. It's not really indigo, but a little bit. Nummer 5, Oil ist, and that's one of the characteristics in German, Öl, Öl, yeah? O umlaut. Number 6, House is D, House. Number 7, Moon. Yeah, correct. It's A, Mond, der Mond. Number 8, very important, University of Universität. Can you see the A umlaut? We got Ä, Ö, and Ü. Number 9, Milk. E, Milch. And number 10, mouse. It is B, mouse. Okay, thanks a lot for that. We got the Q&A session on Slido. So I'm gonna share with you the Slido. The first question, how does studying German culture complement other subjects I might study at Sydney Uni, such as history? Thanks a lot for the question. We got a lot of students who are taking German as a major or a minor to complement their subjects. Most of the students study like at the conservatorium, music or medicine is very popular to combine with German, but also some technical subjects because Germany is leading in this discipline. When it comes to history in specific, it is good to combine it, especially if you are interested in contemporary history and in the during the First and Second World War, if you are interested in this part of the dark part of history of German history, it's good to read, to have the skills to read the primary sources in German, which are very important also to understand history from the perspective of the Germans, and not only to read translations. Yeah, in terms of sources, it's very important to be able to read the original sources. That's yeah. But Indigo, our student rep, might be also able to say a few words.
Thanks, Tristan. Happy to. Yeah, so at the start of my degree, I began by studying primarily literature and English, which already complemented German very well because, of course, there are so many famous literary figures that have come out of Germany and Austria. So there was definitely a complementary aspect there with the arts degrees. I am also majoring in psychology, and there's a lot of overlap there, of course, because many of what we now consider some of the most influential psychologists of the last century did come out of Germany and Austria as well. So there was a lot of there was a big connection there that I was really interested in. I was also really interested in, from a psychological perspective, the idea of national identity, which is a very big question for Germany following the end of World War II. So I do find that German culture and German language have popped up in a lot of my areas of interest and a lot of my fields of study. So I think that it definitely complements a huge range of other subjects.
Thanks a lot, Indigo. Let's see. The second question is learning German more or less difficult than learning other European languages? I think we have to distinguish here between certain parts, certain skills within the languages. As you have seen from our very short exercise, in terms of phonetics, German might be much easier to learn than, let's say, French. It doesn't need so much effort to be able to read a German newspaper, but you won't be able to understand certain words, but you can read it after, let's say, 3 weeks of phonetic lessons. But what is a little bit more complex in German for English native speakers is definitely the grammar. Because sometimes you get confused with the German and the English grammar. because it's some grammar parts share. They are pretty identical, but others are not, and you get a little bit confused. But the German grammar is much more complex than the English one. Yeah. Indigo, do you want to share something from your perspective as a learner?
Yes, definitely. I think that German does definitely have a reputation as being a very difficult language. And like Tristan said, there is certainly an overlap with English that almost gives you a leg up when you start learning German. So in that respect, I don't think it's an unachievable goal. I think there are definitely certain language structures that we're unfamiliar with coming from an English speaking background. I think also that the accent poses a challenge to certain learners, but I think that that really just comes with time and with immersion. And with regard to other European languages, from my experience learning Spanish, I would say that German is definitely more difficult than Spanish. I found that a much easier language to get the hang of. But I do know from secondhand experience of people learning Czech that it was much easier to learn German than Czech. So I think it may sit a little bit in the middle, and it does definitely come down to the learner at the end of the day. But I think my top tip for that is that the way to master German is really just immersing yourself in it, because as soon as you are surrounded by it and it's all that you're hearing, I think that you'll just pick up so much so quickly that it becomes much less of a challenge.
Thanks a lot, Indigo. We don't got further questions, but maybe I just talk a little bit about exchange. In terms of mobility, the University of Sydney got a lot of partners in Germany, but also in Austria, in Vienna. In Germany, it's we got very famous universities like Munich and also in Berlin, the capital of Germany. We got FU, Humboldt Universität and TU, but also in the western part of Germany, like in Cologne, or in the eastern part, we got also some university towns which are much smaller, like Freiburg or Bamberg. These are all our partners, and normally if students go, they go for 1 semester or for 2 semesters, which would be a year, and they take German courses, but also courses in our so-called culture units. And the good thing about exchange is you can get them approved here in Sydney. So certain units you have undertaken, completed at the host university in Germany or in Austria. You don't have to take these units here in Sydney anymore. And the School of Languages and Cultures also provide some support. You can apply for scholarships within the School of Languages and Cultures, but also scholarships are available for exchange from the faculty, or the university. Just check our homepage to get more details about this, or send me an email. I'm happy to answer these ones individually. I think okay. So I'm gonna pass to Indigo, who is gonna talk a little bit about her experience to be a language student here at Sydney. She's going to talk about our language and culture units, but also a bit about her work as a student rep. And at UCIT, we also got a German society. After that part, Indigo is gonna do a kind of knowledge test about Germany. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just start by sharing a little bit of my experience about my journey learning German and how it's been to transition into university German. So as you would have seen, my name is Indigo and I'm a second year student majoring in psychology and Germanic Studies at the University of Sydney. I began learning German at the start of high school and I went on a student exchange when I was 14. I actually went on my exchange to Freiburg, which is one of the university towns that Tristan just mentioned. And for anyone who is interested in going exchange, I can give you 100% confidence that you will love it. I completely fell in love with Germany and with German culture and with the language, regardless how difficult it may or may not be. So that was really what spiked my interest in developing my German. So I came back to Australia, I changed into a more language specific high school. And I took German as far as I could in high school. I accelerated German continuous and German extension. And when I got to the point that I'm sure many of you are in right now, I thought to myself, well, what can I do with German now? Where can I take it? Will I be able to go further with it? So when I transitioned into uni at the University of Sydney, I was aware that they had a German program. But I picked German up as an elective because, like I said, I just wasn't sure where I could take it or where, what I could do with it, but I didn't want to lose the language. So I picked it up as an elective. However, I soon realized that I was having way too much fun to keep it that way. And I am a strong believer in doing what you love, because I think inevitably, if you do what you love, you are going to find success. So I switched German to my major. So now I'm studying a major in Germanic Studies. Through studying German at the University of Sydney, I've got to be involved in so many wonderful language and culture units, from Weimar Germany to translation, really interesting content with quite intimate classes, which allows you to get to know your cohort really well, as of course, the wonderful academic staff that you get to work with, like Tristan, who you've just heard from. I've also been able to be a part of a much wider language learning community in the School of Languages and Cultures. I also became vice president of the University of Sydney German Society, which arranges extracurricular and social events to promote language development and obviously German culture. So we arrange a huge amount of social events to conversation groups where you can practice your German in a very relaxed environment among friends, to cultural enjoyment days where we eat lots of German food and watch German films and all that really fun stuff. I've also become a Galileo language scholar and been able to access the Global Mobility Scholarship, which I fully intend to use to take on a university exchange, hopefully next year. And of course, I also was given the opportunity to become a student representative for the Department of Germanic Studies, which has allowed me to be here today so that I can share my experience with all of you and recommend that everybody follow through with their German, because where I was wondering what I could do with German, now I just sort of wonder where German will take me next. And I am very enthusiastic that it will take me to some awesome places. So yeah, that's me. That's my experience of German at university. I'm loving it. It's an incredible community of people and academic staff, like I mentioned. So.
And the quiz. Okay, the quiz is running, and you got about 30 seconds for each question.
Okay, so the first question we have is, how many states does Germany have? Okay, looks like everybody got that one correct. 16 states. Perfect. All right, question number 2. How many countries does Germany share a border with? Not quite. All right, question 3. What is the literal translation of the word Volkswagen? I'm sure everyone's familiar with that one. Well done. Okay, what order from top to bottom are the colors on the German flag? Honestly, I struggled with this one when I had to think about it. Tougher than you expect. All right, question 5. Which German novelist won the 1929 Nobel Prize in Literature? Tip, if you do take Weimar Germany as a cultural unit at university, you will find out the answer to this one. Well done. Which unofficial name was given to the German state between 1919 and 1933? Again, take the culture unit to find out more. Pretty good, pretty impressive. I think I did worse on that quiz the first time, so. What is the name of the German brand responsible for creating the famous Goldbeer's Gummibärchen? Gummy bears. And if you get a nice enough teacher, they might bring some along to your language classes.
Yeah, that was a very interesting knowledge test. Yeah, we are actually at the end of our webinar, and you can get some informations here via Facebook or on Twitter, or just drop us an email, and we are happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time and hope to see you at Uni Sydney in German. Bye-bye.